Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. I am just so excited to be here. There's some new orchid news, activities, there's stuff going on. It is a great time to be here. So first of all, the weather report. It's more for Keith in Iowa than anywhere else, but here you go. It is 83 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 28 degrees Celsius. It's a beautiful day here. We do have some clouds, which is nice. Otherwise, it would be probably a little too warm. And we got a cold front coming through, so it's going to drop the temperature by just a little bit. But it's so nice to be here. The other thing I'm excited about is that the Plant Propagator Junior will be here in a couple of days, and she loves orchids, and a lot of the orchids that I have actually belong to her. I'm just holding them for her for a little while until she comes down and visits, and hopefully she'll appreciate and approve of how I've been treating her orchids. A couple other things I wanted to share with you. I'm so excited, my last vanilla seed capsule, which is where the vanilla flavoring comes from, on my vanilla orchid. I looked at it today and I think it's ready to harvest and start processing. Now, a lot of times people do this. They have hundreds of vanilla, they call them beans, but they're capsules. They have hundreds of them. You process them. They put off an incredible vanilla scent when you're processing them. But I only had 2 on my vanilla planifolia vine. The vines have grown a lot since they flowered this year, so I'll probably get a lot more next year. But I've got 2. The first one is putting out this incredible fragrance right now, and I'm going to pull the other one and process it either today or certainly by a couple of days. Once the base of the capsule starts to turn a little yellow, that's when you're supposed to process it, and it's just at the right time right now. The other thing that I'm excited about before we take a look at 4 orchids behind me is that I got an email from Tristan at Palmer Orchids, and I've shared some of my seedlings with them in flasks, and they just know how to grow orchids. They're incredible growers. And so I look at the ones that I have that I'm growing from seed, and the ones that I provided to them that they're growing also from seed from flasks, and theirs look incredible. And Tristan sent me an image of one of my seedlings that bloomed, that's showing its first bloom about 2.5 years after deflasking, which is good, which is fast. And so I threatened him. I didn't threaten him. I asked him if I could come up and visit him and some of the orchids that he got from me. He hasn't responded yet, but I think probably in about 2 weeks, that's the plan, is I'll make a trip up to Bradenton, Florida, and visit Palmer Orchids. Now, they're having a sale, I think, this week. Next week they are closed, but then they open up again the following week. And so I'm excited that it's always exciting. And he sent me the image of the bloom, and not quite what I expected, but still beautiful flower. And it's my cross, so I'm really excited about that. Okay, let's get started with the 4 orchids that I wanted to share with you. I've got 2 that are repeat blooms, and one I've shared with you pretty recently, and then I've got 2 first blooms, and I'm always excited to have and share with you first blooms on my orchids. So let me show you first. I want to show you this one, and this is one that I can almost, this is, first of all, this is Yellowbird. This is Brassicatlia Yellowbird. So this is a nodosa hybrid. And to be honest, I can't remember when this plant was not blooming. This thing grows like nuts. It grows like crazy. I'm looking at this plant, and it continues to put out new pseudobulbs, and then each time it puts out a new pseudobulb, it puts out these flower spikes. Right now I'm looking, there's only 5 flowers on this plant, but here is a real nice seed capsule right here that I'm hopefully going to get some seed out of. This is a nice yellow bird because of the spots that are on the flowers. The flowers are, I mean, they're not big, they're not small, but they're nice size, and I like the level of spotting that's on this flower. So what I did is I crossed it onto a primary Cattleya hybrid that has some spotting in there. So I'm hoping I'll get some spotting, maybe with a little bit of a pink flower, a bit larger than this. But a nice vigorous plant here. The primary hybrid that I hybridized it to is fragrant. And it's sitting up there, and I'm looking at it. It has another seed capsule on it from another plant. But anyway, this is Brassicatleya yellowbird, just one of my favorites. Always blooming, just a nice, consistent bloomer, but again, as important, vigorous grower. Fragrance, I'm not sure if there is fragrance here. It would probably be night fragrant, and I haven't come out at night, and I should do that to see whether this is fragrant at night. The other one that I want to share with you that has bloomed previously for me is this one. And this is Shu Glory Happy Holiday, RTH, Shu Glory Happy Holiday. And I've shared this with you previously, but it was before this was in full bloom. Now this one, and this is a nice plant. So this plant is currently in full bloom. There are 10 flowers currently on this plant. I should mention to you that this plant, I picked this up, I think about a year, not even quite a year and a half ago, from Sundance Orchid and Bromeliads in Fort Myers. And this thing has bloomed a couple of times since then, and that, again, that's only a year and a half ago. Right now, this is a nice, vigorous plant. This thing puts out, you know, it's got 3 different bloom spikes on it with 3, 3, and 4 flowers, but it seems to have grown within a short amount of time. It seems to have grown really nicely, and it is in full flower now. The fragrance, the fragrance on this plant is nice. It's a classical, sweet Cattleya fragrance, but it's not very intense. It's not as intense as some of the other Cattleyas that I have. But again, I wanted to share this with you because previously, when I showed this to you, it wasn't in full bloom, and now it is. And you can tell as I turn the plant around, this is a nice orchid. This is a nice plant. Again, so this is RTH, Shu Glory, and the cultivar is Happy Holiday. Now, this is a clone plant. I've seen other Happy Holidays that have a little bit of a different pattern in the sepals and petals, where there's a darker yellow and a lighter yellow in the sepals and petals, where there's kind of flaring. And here there's a little bit of flaring, but there's just a little bit of purple in that. That's not quite the same as the other that are supposed to be clones of the same plant. But it's still a nice plant, and look at the amount of flowers that this thing has produced after only a short time owning this plant. Okay, so again, this is Shu Glory Happy Holiday. And I think it was here, but okay, it's there. Now I've got 2 first blooms that I want to share with you. And one of them is right here. This is Vanda cherry blossom. And I've had, this is, of the plants that I've shared with you, I've had this the longest. I've had this for 3 years. It's a tiny little plant. There actually were 2 flower spikes on this plant. And one of them blasted, one of them fell off. But the remaining one, right now, looks like there are 6 flowers. It's a Vanda. there are 6 flowers that are on the spike, but only one of them is open. It's a cute little flower. Again, not something that I would buy or pick. This was, again, I picked this up 3 years ago. I won it at Orchid Bingo. So, you know, you sit down, you play, you don't spell out Orchid, you spell bingo, and if you win the bingo, you go up and you pick your plant, and this is probably one of the only ones left. So I picked this up. You know, it's growing okay. It puts out a lot of keikis, so there are, it looks like there are 2 or 3 keikis growing out of this plant. Nice root growth. It's in a pot, it's not attached to my tree, any of my trees. But this is, it's a nice little flower. I sent an image of this to the Plant Propagator Junior, and she responded right away and says, oh, I see why they call it cherry blossom. But she didn't smell why they called it cherry blossom. So this smells like cherry blossoms. This is a really nice, and most of my Vandas that I have don't have a lot of fragrance. This is nicely fragrant. So I'm pretty excited about this. I wish the plant was bigger. I wish the flowers were bigger. I wish it was more vigorous. It does check the box for fragrance. So again, this is Vanda Cherry Blossom. I'm happy I have it. Hopefully next year it'll get more blooms. It'll be a little bigger, but this is okay. And there's gonna be, because only one bloom is open, this probably is gonna get a little more fragrant, a little bit more fragrance once it's still there. One bloom. It's nice. It's going to get a little bit more fragrance once the rest of the blooms open up. Okay, so moving on, the last plant of the day. Got to grab it from up here, and it's outside of your view. And this is, again, another fairly recent acquisition. All right, so this is RLC creation, and the cultivar on this is Summer Choice. I picked this up at Sundance Orchid and Bromeliads. I didn't mention where Yellowbird was from, but that's from RF Orchids in Homestead, Florida. So anyway, this is from Sundance Orchid and Bromeliads. Picked this up, I think maybe around 9 months ago. I got this plant. And I'm happy. It's not a huge plant, as you can tell. And I picked this up because I looked at I like flaring in my cattleyas and in my orchids, and this has some nice flaring. Now this opened a couple of days ago, and when it first opened, to be honest, I was a little disappointed. But over the past 2 days, there's been a lot of development of color within these blooms. It's just a single bloom on a small plant. It hasn't grown a huge amount. It seems to want to wander sideways. It doesn't, as you can tell, it doesn't stand up like some of my other orchids do, but that's okay. But the other nice thing about this, so it's got the flaring. Maybe it could be a little bit bigger, but this is the kind of so there's lots of different fragrance that you have in orchids. So I've talked with some people who weren't really orchid growers, and I told them, and I'm going to give a talk at this place, and I told them I was going to bring my orchids in, and they could all smell them. And they looked and they said, "Orchids smell? What are you talking about?" And so I said, "Yeah, they smell great." And then me and the other orchid guy are talking about, "Yeah, they smell like chocolate, raspberry, honeysuckle, roses." And they're like, "What? Orchids smell?" This is one of the nicest smelling orchids that I own. And I do have some nice smelling orchids in my collection. This is a woodsy, sweet, herbally, and I guess woodsy and herbally are the same thing, but this is a really nice fragrance. It reminds me a little bit, I think, of Green Veil, another cattleya that also has the similar type of sweet herbal scent to it. So this is just this is one of the things that I, again, and when you make hybrids between different plants, I've had different seedlings from some of my hybrids that have smelled very different. So fragrance is a crapshoot as far as trying to get certain types of fragrance when you do breeding and when you get certain plants. But this is a really nice plant. This is a clone plant. So this is, again, RLC Creations Summer Choice. And because Summer Choice is in single quotes at the end of the name, that suggests that this is a clone plant. So hopefully all of them that, and this is, I think you can get this from growers. All of them should have exactly the same fragrance, but sometimes you get, when you multiply a large numbers of the plants, sometimes you get a little small amount of variation in the plants, and they may not all be exactly the same. But wonderful fragrance, flaring, good coloration, nice flower form here. This is a plant that I really like, and I've only had this for a short amount of time. So what I'm excited about is to see how this grows over time, what it's going to look like. I don't even know if it just blooms once a year at this time of the year, or if it's a periodic bloomer where it sends out a new pseudobulb, blooms, sends out a new pseudobulb, and blooms like Yellowbird does. So we'll have to see. I don't have that much experience with this plant. I've had it a short amount of time, but I'm excited about it for the flower, the shape, the form, the color, and especially the fragrance. Okay, so let me put this back up here out of view, and that's where this is where this guy lives. Having a hard time getting it up here. Okay. That's one of my nightmares, is it when I put something up and I don't put it, it's on a hanger. If I don't put it up there just right and it crashes, and no, that's a nightmare for me. Anyway, so that's all I have for you today. I do have a lot of my other orchids that are in spike that'll be blooming soon, and I'll share those with you as we move along. And just so you know, there may be, with the holidays coming up, there may be a little break. I may not be able to put out the number of videos that I would normally do because, I'm traveling and with family and things like that. But I'll try to keep you informed, and I'll try to keep you updated of all the new blooms that are coming. And I'll share some lab videos as well. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.